on a conference that was about how to raise your teenagers. But the funny thing was that there were actually no teenagers there. So we decided to go talk to some young people and find out what they thought about what was said about them.
Well, I did my story on Celtic revival. There seems to be a huge interest in everything having to do with Ireland and Celtic mythology. So I went out to see if I could learn how to speak Gaelic and try my hand at step dancing.
Did you ever turn on your radio late at night and find something weird there? Well, it could be someone broadcasting illegally out of their basement. We want to find out what pirate radio is all about.
We also sent Josh out to do a story on drag queens. We hooked up with a teenage drag queen, and he showed us how he transformed himself into a she, and then we hit the club scene to see what it's all about.
Well, I went out and nearly got myself killed. Again, as I attempted to try to fence with Mark Olivier Hassoun, a 16-year-old fencing champion, and he kicked my ass. So watch.
How do you feel when you're all dressed up and ready to go?
I feel like that I'm a superstar. I feel that I have all the power.
I've got something to show you.
It's the transformation. It's, you know, I really like it.
Hey guys, I bet at a first glance this doesn't appear to be your average bedroom. And this definitely doesn't look like something you'd find in your average bedroom. Well, it belongs to Hugo. And we're going to hook up with Hugo and find out what it's like to chill with a drag queen.
First of all, it's an art, and it's self-expression, and everyone could be a drag queen if they want. There's a lot of kind of drag queens, like people who dressed up as a woman can be a drag queen, and like Madonna's a drag queen, Prince is a drag queen, Michael Jackson's a fierce androgynous. For me, they're all drag queens. Let me show you my drag clothes.
Which is your favorite of the wigs?
Now, for now, this one. And this one, I look real with this one. Like, you want to wear it?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's a great idea. Is there a certain amount of sexuality behind being a drag queen?
No, there's nothing to do with sexuality. It's a art, it's an art.
But a lot of times the public will automatically assume a drag queen's gay.
No, that's not true. Like, look, Patrick Swayze, I don't consider Patrick Swayze as a drag queen, first of all, but he did it and he's straight.
I'm straight and I even did it once, so there you go.
Qu'est-ce que je porte, Mom?
On met la petite culotte noire, c'est plus beau.
Ça?
Ouais, c'est cute, ça.
My mom, she's very fantastic. She, like, accepts me. And she's like, she's with me, you know? She knows that I'm an artist.
It's my art. Okay, it's me, but it's my art. This is not really the real me. It's me who did this, but it's not me. Do you know what I mean?
They create the scene, they create the mood. They're like our entertainers. We need them to party. We look up to them, and they're amazing people.
I hear that for you, when you step into drag, you become a different person completely.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a man, so when I make a drag, I'm a girl. It's a different personality. Very good.
Baby, look at me. Tell me what you see. You ain't seen the best of me yet.
How long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it for now 4 years. Been going around Canada, showing my stuff, just basically promoting the night and having a good time. I don't plan on doing this all my life. I'm planning on becoming a singer and, you know, and whatever, you know. It's all about, like, entertaining.
Have you ever had any problems? Run into situations with a bad reaction or anything?
Yes, like faggot and stuff like that. People don't really understand that drag queens are artists, but people react. It's 50-50, you know, like some people like don't react well, and some people like they admire them a lot.
What's the next step for you?
I want to do modeling in drag because I think I have talent. I know I can do it, like, and I'm gonna do it.
I've got something to show you.
Love less. infatuation. Can you really distinguish? Well, this week we took to the streets to find out how you know it's really love.
When I was younger, I used to say that if the person got run over, you'd feel bad, but I guess it's just when you really want to be with the person all the time. Oh, you feel it inside.
If you know that you would die for that person, you know, when you do anything for that person, then you're in love.
Stereotype symptoms is like you can't eat and you're like, you can't sleep or...
Well, your heart pounds, you're hurt inside, like right here, like in your stomach. Headaches.
Always thinking about them.
Yeah.
Constantly thinking about a person.
If you're just on cloud nine with the person, like, oh, they're so wonderful, then that's just a bit, that's infatuation.
Infatuation is one thing, which is like an unreciprocated kind of love. Well, there's a fine line between infatuation and being in love.
I think infatuation wears off quickly.
Love basically lasts.
Where you start, and for whatever reasons are not that important, it's your openness to another culture, to kind of walk through that world or into that world and experience it to whatever degree your fancy takes you. It's vibrant and it's alive, and therefore it's appealing.
These days, there seems to be a huge interest among people our age in anything Celtic. And we're not talking about leprechauns or Irish coffee here. Whether it's the latest Cranberry CD or a book on Celtic mythology or even a step dancing class, it seems that a lot of us want to get in touch with that Celtic spirit. And you never know, I just might rediscover my own Irish heritage.
Dia is Meredith, Tar Ishak Kanasatatu.
Tomagama.
Sishis and Shin.
You can only drink green beer and wear green once a year, but the language, you can be Irish year round.
Banistjord. Dach doir.
Dach doir.
Dach is color.
Painter?
Painter, that.
Well, my parents both learned Irish because they're both from Dublin.
Do you find it's helping you stay connected to your culture, taking the lessons?
Well, I can talk to my cousin kind of now because my cousins are always speaking in Irish and I could never follow what they're saying, so now I kind of have an idea.
One of my students the first year was teaching her, she said about Irish, it's profoundly weird. Once you're over the initial shock, it's no more difficult than any other language.
Sheesh and shin.
Sounds like she sells seashells to the seashore. See, shees and shin. See, shees and shin.
See, shees and sin.
Getting there. Good amahagat.
Is your goal to become fluent in the language, or?
I guess it'd be nice, yeah.
How hard do you think that's going to be?
Really hard. It's going to be a long time.
Is this like years we're talking until you're going to be?
Yeah, years for sure.
The language, of course, is the authentic badge of being Irish. When it comes down to it, all the world speaks English, but the Irish speak Irish.
I think that Ireland offers this world where there are kind of two realities that can exist at the same time. There's a kind of other rhythm to the reality. There's a kind of a Celtic dimension that is different from the Anglo-Saxon dimension, if you want to make it in terms of those opposites. It's an ability to live a little bit more spiritually, a little bit more imaginatively, to live more in terms of the present, but with the past. I have students in my classes who say, you know, that they've been to Ireland once or they want to go to Ireland, and they've become almost obsessed with experiencing it. The young people have been liberated from many of the issues that their parents were bogged down in, if you'll excuse the pun, but they were bogged down by the past. This river dance, which started a few years ago, suddenly broke all the rules, and it was this kind of extraordinary release of repressed energy.
Stretch over there to the side. Now stretch. Good. The Irish, when they get together, everybody sings or tells a story or dances. And because I was a dancer, I had something I could do. I could dance.
So you're sure you're going to be able to teach me?
Absolutely.
Well, at least I could put the shoes on to start.
1, 2, 3. Keep the heels off. 4, 5, 6, 7.
I want to do 8.
That's why we call them the sevens. Hop, back, 2, 3, hop, back, 2, 3.
It's harder than it looks, I promise.
When you let it flow, it actually works easier.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, back 2, 3, back 2, 3. That's it.
Yay! I got it!
Close.
part of story. It's part of another place, another time. It's part of looking at reality through a different set of eyes, as it were.
Tonight is on some of the do's and don'ts of parenting your adolescents, or fasten your seatbelts.
Actually, I'm about to present to you my 5-minute version of a one-day workshop.
They're in a very precarious situation. They're not children. They're not adults.
An adolescent can develop that same addiction in 3 months.
Imagine it's all about how to raise your teenagers, but the catch is there aren't any teenagers actually present. Well, it happened and we were there. So we took all the expert advice, showed it to some young people, and asked them what they thought about what people were telling their parents about them. He defined adolescence as like this erratic shopping spree for like roles and identities, you know?
People are constantly doing that throughout their whole life. They're always trying to discover themselves.
You're basically saying that the reason for the confusion of an adolescent is that
I don't think it's a
adolescent.
very wise choice to generalize like that, because you miss out on so many of the exceptions, and parents have to deal with those exceptions later on.
I'll present just eight commandments because of time constraint that facilitate healthy communication.
This is the voice of God. Listen to this.
The most basic ingredient in all of your responses is a calm, cool body language, voice, and verbal use.
That's the pose that, you know, if an adult does that to me, I blank out. I glaze over.
1, throw the ball back into their court. 2, validate their feelings, mostly by empathizing.
Like she stood up there and she sounded like a tactician.
7, that's when I want to make a point. I often tell a story. I embellish my story as much as I need to make my point.
There was no warmth, there was no feeling, there was no, you know, I've raised kids and I love them and I've had these great experiences with them and this is what I've learned from them. They've taught me this. It was all, this is how you deal with it, you know, and it was completely cold.
How do you think you can earn your child's respect?
By giving them respect?
Oh my, I don't think you can. I'm deadly, so you cannot earn it. They'll give it to you when they're ready if you're decent.
By not creating a double standard.
Unconditional love.
This can be formalized in something that I love to do, which are family meetings.
When my parents came up to me saying we're having a family meeting, I'd probably just laugh in their face and walk out of the house.
I don't know anyone who has a family forum, like except for the Cosbys, you know.
How do you get them to respect you?
She just said they don't. I'll kill her.
Try to pretend like we're listening to them when they're talking to us.
Teenagers.
Ooh, good question.
I guess it's kind of like a give and take situation. Compromise. You treat me like an adult, then, you know, I won't be such a bleep back.
By being easy to talk to.
It's trust, you know?
By acting like parents and not trying to be younger or older than they are.
What if you're 12? What if you're 13? And it's only then that your parents realize that, you know, they might have screwed up in a lot of ways up till then. What can they do at that point? Like, is it a lost
The most important
cause?
thing for that child to hear at that point is for the parent to say, yeah, you know, I missed out and I apologize, I'm sorry.
The parents have a problem admitting that they're wrong because, I mean, if they admit that they're wrong, they think it might make them seem as less of an authority figure, like you might respect them less.
Have you ever said you're sorry?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah?
Have your parents ever said sorry to you? Nope. When, you know, I actually prove to them in their faces that they're wrong, then, yeah, I do get an apology, but that's a rarity.
No.
Now that I think of it, actually, I'm rather annoyed by that.
No, they haven't. Actually, that's a good one. I gotta go talk to my mom about that.
Sure, of course, they're my parents.
Makes you feel loved?
They love me. They're supposed to love me. I love them, too.
Girls, do you know what pirate radio is?
Pirate radio? Does it have anything to do with radio? Is it like it plays music that is known? I don't know.
So it's a bunch of people who wear patches on their eyes who are pirates and call their show Pirate Radio.
They play pirate music? Somebody that has their own broadcasting channel or something?
You're tuned to Radio B, coming to you live from somewhere in this big city. Okay, this isn't exactly real. Pirate radio is, after all, illegal. But there is an entire subculture out there breaking the rules. So we went to find out more.
Two different classes of pirate radio stations. One are the micro broadcasters.
So this is the radio station. This is a 1-watt radio station. Okay.
It fits in a shoebox. You could actually put it in a pack sack and kind of run around the city doing pirate radio.
It's going to work on an FM radio frequency, usually in the lower end of the band.
Hello? Hello, hello, hello?
You can go into your basement, put on some tapes or some music, or sit in front of a microphone and talk away about whatever, and a very small community of people who know you're going to be there will hear you.
There it is. So that's just this this radio transmitting. You see if I turn it off, we get nothing.
Much more exotic and has much more reach and has much more mystique to it is the shortwave pirate broadcaster.
How active are these stations or these pirate radios?
They've been extremely active, particularly in the last 2 or 3 years. Couple factors. One is less policing of the radio spectrum. People are getting a little more ambitious, a little more creative, finding ways to do things where they're less detectable.
Did we just break the law? Yeah. It's legal to build it, but it's illegal to use it.
Are these people just having fun, or do they have agendas?
Both. There's a lot of the resistance movements all across the world have used small power transmitters as a primary means of communication.
Pirate radio, there's like a real cultural context. It's really different depending on where you are. Really interesting North American example is this station that used to be called Black Liberation Radio, which is now called Zoom Black Magic. This man, Mabana Kentenko, in Springfield, Illinois, has built a small, I think it's a one-water, in the housing development, the low-income housing where he lives. And he was, from where he was situated, he was reaching like 10,000 people. It was like a voice that really needed to be heard that wasn't being heard anywhere else.
In the UK, there was numerous instances of pirate radio because I think state control over radio waves is really strict.
There are pirate stations who operate, for instance, just on the weekend, playing the sort of music that doesn't get played on the mainstream radio.
If someone wanted to start one of these, how would they go about it?
One really good place is it's called Radio Free Berkeley. They sell transmitter kits, and they give you these kind of instructions and diagrams. Take a look at that.
So the first thing you do, as I say, is you turn your tuner on, you select a frequency, and you find something like that, which is white noise. So you'll hear when I turn it on, it cuts, right. And in fact, that means that we're broadcasting right now. Yeah, here you go. You can be on the radio.
I'm on the radio. And this is illegal, too.
How do these people know if anybody's listening?
They solicit reception reports from listeners.
Why do the authorities even care about pirate radio? I mean, it doesn't harm anybody, so then why not allow this freedom of expression?
There are a lot of people that pay a lot of money for legal radio stations and legal radio licenses.
Is this a backlash?
I wouldn't say backlash, because I think pirate radio has been around for ages and ages. But it's definitely kind of a manifestation of resistance against the fact that either corporations or the government has total control of radio airwaves.
I don't feel that I was that talented for this sport in the beginning, but you know, talent can take you so far, but I know that when you work hard, you know, that makes the whole difference. If everything continues going the way it is now, I'll progress in the rankings, and it's definitely, I'll be a contender for the Canadian team.
All right, well, this obviously isn't Olympic-style fencing that me and Josh are doing here, but we went to go talk to Marc-Olivier Hassoun, a 16-year-old fencing champion ranked #1 in Canada in his age group, to find out a little bit about fencing and to work on a couple of our moves there. En garde, Josh.
En garde it is.
Well, I started when I was 11 years old, when I got first year in high school.
Now, were you one of those kids, like, you know, that used to take the broomsticks and start fighting each other?
I had a lot of imagination, I guess. I thought of doing stuff like that, yeah.
Now, you're 16 years old, right? And what are you ranked again in Canada now?
I'm first in the under-17 category, I'm first in the under-20 category, and I'm fifth in the open category senior.
Man, that's crazy.
Fencing is a European sport, and when you get to a top level, every important competition in Europe, the World Championships, all the World Cup circuits in Europe. I won the Grand Prix of Munich for the cadets in Germany, and there's never been a Canadian that won the tournament. And they were so surprised, actually, the organization, that they didn't even have the national anthem to play because they didn't expect the Canadians to win.
Tu vas s'asseoir, Jean? Quoi? Tu vas s'asseoir, Jean? Non, je pense pas, man.
How do you do that and then go to school and try to maintain grades?
Well, you know when you know what you have to do, you have the time to do it, so you just get everything done. It's possible if you try hard enough.
What is it that makes Mark Oliver so special?
He's an aggressive person as a fencer, and he's a big fighter. And he's a big worker. That, I think, is the most, that's where he's going to be, I think, like a killer for everybody, you know.
Now, do you think Mark Oliver has a shot at the Olympics?
I think Mike Oliver, his main goal is to make the Olympics in the year 2000 in Sydney, in Australia. That's why he's going to be only 19. It's going to be tough, but I think as a worker, he can do it. I'm pretty sure as a coach, I feel he can do it.
So, defense, you're going to have to change first.
This isn't a jockstrap sport, is it?
No,
it's not
necessary.
Family jewels, you know.
It's all right.
All right. Oh, so this is bulletproof.
Yeah, it's bulletproof. Well, I mean, it's a bulletproof material. I wouldn't take a bullet, but, you know.
So, man, I can go down to Bronx now.
Yeah, I guess. Accidents are very rare. There's only been one casualty in fencing, and that happened over 20 years ago when the safety signs were a lot less enforced, but now everything's fine. There's no danger in fencing.
So there's no real risk of me dying right now?
Oh, I don't think so, no.
Okay, so I just put this on. This is really bringing back bad memories there, Marc Olivier. Okay, you ready?
You have to move around, eh? Because I won't just be attacking, so I move around. You're gonna attack me here. Try to block it, see, you didn't touch me.
Oh, are you doing okay though?
Oh yeah, you did well for the first time. It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. I'm supposed to be losing like miserably, right?
Oh, you are, yeah.
Okay, good. Just want to make sure.
Well, I don't think you hit me yet. You didn't hit me yet.
I'm like going like this, and he's not there. I don't know what to do. Okay. All right. You may have won in fencing. I'll go play table hockey with you right now. Air hockey, let's go. See who wins then, huh? Show off.
I hope to have go into politics, politics too. So I won't only be a fencer. I'll be a politician.
Fencing, politics. I see the connection right there.
Yeah.
We're here in a parking lot, and I've never seen anything like this before. It's quite odd. Anyway, that's it for BuzZone.